support for the just struggle of inalienable right of Kashmiris' right to self-determination. As you see, strong demonstration of this solidarity throughout Pakistan and countries across the world. For the moment, I would like you to imagine yourself a Kashmiri born in Srinagar on 27 October 1947. You are 75 years old and you have completed nearly every phase of your life. You took decisions on what to study, where to work, how to contribute, and preparing to retire. A full circle of life, maybe. But imagine that you are reminded on every day of your life that you were under Indian occupation and denied all rights and liberties. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a story of every Kashmiri who is living in IIOJK. Since Indian occupation forces landed in Srinagar on 27 October 1947 in blatant violation of international law, our Kashmiri brothers have seen nothing but terrorism and, in return, shown nothing but resilience, courage and bravery. The UN Charter embodies our collective determination to uphold international law and peaceful coexistence based on respect for the principles of equal rights and self-determination of people, and to take appropriate measures to strengthen universal peace. It is deplorable that these universal ideas still continue to be defied with impunity, nowhere more egregiously than in IIOJK. Sadly, the situation has further deteriorated since India's illegal and unilateral actions of 5th August 2019. Gross and widespread violations of human rights continue unabated in the disputed territory. With this backdrop, let's start the activities of the evening today. May I first invite Mr. Ghulam Fareed, APSU Ambassador, for recitation of the occupied territory. The situation has further worsened since India's illegal and unilateral revocation of the special status of IIOJK on 5th August 2019. Around 690 extrajudicial killings of innocent Kashmiris have taken place at the hands of Indian occupation forces in last 3 years. Hurriyat leaders have been detained illegally and placed under house arrest. India is also making reprehensible attempts at bringing about the demographic changes in IIOJK by issuing fake domiciles, changing property laws, gerrymandering electoral districts, creating new seats of Hindu-dominated regions in the state legislature, and adding non-Kashmiri residents to the fact that solemn commitments made by Government of India to the people of IIOJK, to Pakistan, and to the international community to abide by and implement the relevant Security Council resolutions have been disowned by the occupying powers.
75th somber anniversary of India's illegal occupation of illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir against their will. 75 years ago, on 27 October 1947, India forcibly landed its troops in IIOJK and continues to forcibly and illegally occupy this territory ever since. For over 7 decades, the Jammu and Kashmir dispute has been a battle of hope against overwhelming odds, of courage against fear, and of sacrifice against tyranny. Thousands of innocent Kashmiri men, women, and children have lost their lives at the hands of Indian brutality. We pay rich tributes to all the martyrs for their ultimate sacrifice and to their families for their resolve and perseverance. India's intensified campaign to force demographic changes in IIOJK is in full swing since 5th August 2019, when it revoked Article 370 and 35A of its own constitution that had granted special status to IIOJK. The events of the last 3 years have included repressive measures such as outrageous gerrymandering to create Hindu-dominated constituencies in Muslim-majority areas, issuance of millions of fake domicile certificates to non-Kashmiris, new laws on ownership of land and property, and expansion of voter rolls to include non-Kashmiri residents. These undemocratic and illegal measures are in direct contravention of United Nations resolutions and the Fourth Geneva Convention. They signify nothing but India's malicious campaign to change the distant Kashmiri identity. With 900,000 troops, IIOJK has become one of the most heavily militarized regions of the world. Nearly 690 Kashmiris have lost their lives in extrajudicial killings since 5th of August 2019, including 170 just this year. The true representatives of the Kashmiri people have been arbitrarily detained for years. However, India's intransigence and brutality in the IIOJK cannot continue indefinitely.
Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Before I proceed, I would request you all to please stand at your places and observe a moment of silence in the honor of the martyrs and all the people, Kashmiri people in IIOJK. To another city to attend some very important engagement. Otherwise, he would have hosted this important, which I believe that very traditionally summarized in next few minutes. I would just share my thoughts, and it will be right from my heart. I tried, but I couldn't prepare anything. But let me first of all thank you all. It's a working day and you have gathered here. Thank you very much for attending this important event on the 75th Kashmir Black Day. On this day, 75 years ago, the Kashmir tragedy began, and unfortunately it is still continuing. It's a tragedy which involves the lives of not a small group or a few 100,000 people. It's a tragedy which involves the lives of above 9 million people living under the brutal suppression of the country which claims itself to be the largest democracy of the world. It's a great tragedy which signifies actually the failure of the nations. It's a collective failure, and primarily because of the narrow interests, probably. It's a great tragedy for so many reasons. The time is short, the weather is cold. I will be brief also, but ladies and gentlemen, you would agree that just, I think 2 years ago, when the corona pandemic struck the world, when these roads got deserted, when the markets, streets, everything got deserted, and the curfews and the social distancing became the norms of the day, what happened? Knowing that the curfew and the social distancing was just benign for the interest, for the health and the lives of the people, but the masses protested. I was in France at that time, and the masses protested, and they refused to obey the orders. Just imagine the plight and the pain of the people of Kashmir in IIOJK, who are living in a perpetual curfew for the last 75 years. Not only the curfew, it's not a social distancing, it's not a curfew only. They are butchered, they are killed, they are even their dead bodies are mutilated, their houses are bulldozed, razed, crippled, maimed, tortured, and whatnot. The women are raped on the daily basis in dozens. What for? Just because of the simple reason that they have decided that they have never been and they will never be part of India. What for? For a simple reason that they are asking for the legitimate right to self-determination. They just want to decide their own future. They are not talking about the future of the world. They just want to decide their own future. And just because of this reason, the self-proclaimed biggest democracy of the world is not allowing them to have a plebiscite. Ladies and gentlemen, as you must have heard, Hegel says that the only thing which we have learned from the history of the world is that we do not learn anything from the history. Otherwise, the history of the world is replete with the examples that there is no possible device or design by which you can suppress the determination and the will of the people. By no possible design and device you can conquer people if they are against you from their heart. And it's written on the wall. It's written on the wall. But the only problem is that India does not want to read that fate and does not want to swallow this bitter pill. What is that? They have decided they don't want to live with them. And there are so many examples which support this argument. We are just 2 days short of the Turkey's Republic Day, which falls every year on 29th of October. And it signifies, it tells us what? That when there is a will, rock solid determination, vision, hard work, perseverance, no, then you cannot conquer the people. The example was set by the impeccable, the charismatic leadership of Ghazi Kemal Atatürk. And all of these examples, they point towards only one thing, that once the people make up their minds, as the people of Kashmir, as we call it IIOJK, no, you cannot defeat them. You may, by all your force, whatever India is doing these days. Let India do how many years? 75 years have passed? 5, 10, 15 more? No. But as I've already said, the end result is written on the wall. It's up to India whether it learns from history or not. It's just a matter of time, inshallah ta'ala. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to acknowledge and convey on behalf of the government of Pakistan the deepest gratitude to Turkey and its leadership for always standing with their Kashmiri brethren. Their voice, mashallah, is among the strongest voice for the legitimate right of the Kashmiri people. And what is that? That please resolve the issue in light with the UNSC resolutions and according to the wishes and the will of the Kashmiri people. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So once again, I thank Turkey and its leadership for its continued and principled support. Pakistan and Turkey are natural partners. We are like brothers, and we have a long tradition of standing by each other through thick and thin, as we have seen just a few weeks ago, and it's happening in Pakistan also, in times of the worst floods, the worst in history of Pakistan. Turkey was there, and we not only acknowledge but appreciate Turkey's efforts, their support, and we don't have the appropriate words to thank Turkey for its great support and time efforts. So I was saying that we are natural partners, and our Prime Minister, when he came here in June, he said that we have, and we believe in this, that we have common friends and common foes. And inshallah, this tradition of standing by each other will continue endlessly. Ladies and gentlemen, while I thank you to be here at the Pakistan mission, let me say just the last sentence. There is a black day, but the time is not too far when this black day will be converted into a bright day, when the people of Kashmir will exercise their legitimate right to self-determination, and when they will decide about their future, inshallah ta'ala. But 27th of October of 1947 will remain in our memories forever, telling us that yes, and then the following whole history telling us that yes, you can silence their voice, you can silence the voice for just a few years, but at the end of the day, you cannot conquer their hearts. Thank you very much.